This is the story of Jane Whedon. She was a young woman who was kidnapped and sexually assaulted in the Willowbrook community in 1969, and she was committed because she could not give a coherent statement about what had happened. She was committed into the psychiatric facility where she was not heard from since. Some people say she's in the Willowbrook Psychiatric Center that was exposed for mistreating mental patients, but nobody really knows for sure. They know that she lived in Willowbrook, that there was some type of home invasion. She was tied up with pantyhose around her wrists and ankles and sexually assaulted. And they found her a day or two later, and apparently she didn't have any clear memories. So, like I said, they put her in a mental hospital, and she hasn't been heard from since. So this is the one of the founders of the Willowbrook Golf Course, the Willowbrook Golf Club, Dr. Werner von Braun. He was the one that organized the Willowbrook community. So Jane Whedon's father, he worked with Dr. Von Braun. They had some type of special association, or he worked on Dr. Von Braun. He had a missile program going on the Redstone Arsenal, and this person was one of his missile technicians. So apparently, Jane Whedon's father was able to purchase a house in the Willowbrook community because of this special association. And one day, Jane Whedon, her father, and Dr. Werner von Braun were on the Willowbrook golf course together on a golf cart. And as they were passing the Willowbrook Creek, on the bridge, Dr. Von Braun mentioned that it would turn your hair gray if you knew what some people were capable of doing. Jane Whedon's father agreed. Yes, this is true. Now, I believe it was shortly hereafter that Jane Whedon had her first exposure to mental illness, or had her first encounter with or had the first notion that she may have a mental illness at this point. She's troubled by a dream that there was a great catastrophe, a great big thick cloud of smoke, and that there was just a major catastrophe that happened. But she's very troubled, and people suspect that she's suffering from mental illness at this point. She says that the Willowbrook golf course that she's living on, there's a massive amount of people out there that perished when this black cloud appeared. And there were so many of them that they just buried them where they could. And there was a rumor that in the early 1900s that there was a chemical arsenal that they were developing to be used for World War I, and that one of these weapons, while they were testing them, the wind blew the chemicals in an unexpected direction, and many people perished. And it was said that there were so many that they didn't have room for them at that time at the Pope burial site, so they just buried them where they could. Other people disagreed with this theory. Some people believed that this was just a flu outbreak, and that there were so many people that perished from the flu that they just had to bury the people where they could. People began to be very concerned about the mental health of Jane Whedon, so they sent her to a doctor. They wanted to get her to stop talking about these strange theories of a cult in the Willowbrook community. So apparently they get her on some chemicals, some medication, And she starts recovering very, very well. People start thinking that she's starting to do okay. So now her father becomes more concerned because there's people coming over uninvited and they're taking her off, and he doesn't know what they're doing to her, what's going on, but they take off with her, and he's concerned because she can be easily taken advantage of this point because of all the medication. So he's kind of telling these guys to stay away, especially this one that he suspects of giving her substances that are making her sick. He claims he just wants to help her out and give her a ride because she's unable to drive. She's that much out of it. But he's clearly showing other interests. He takes her to some friends of his that he wants her to meet.